Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Joni here. Today I'm going to be showing you guys step by step how to paint this acrylic painting. Very pretty soft violet winter landscape in a limited palette. So we're going to be using this Holbein luminous violet, but if you don't have this, and many of you guys don't have this paint, don't worry, you can use any pink or any purple. Quinacridone violet or magenta are all good options. I'm going to be using a little bit of titanium white as well. Okay, so you're going to need some water, a towel, any size canvas you want. Like I mentioned, mine's a 9x12. I'm going to be using a number 30 Filbert brush for creating the background and some foliage and trees. I've also got another brush here. It's an oval mop brush that I'm going to be using for some more foliage and trees and snow. And I will be using a liner brush. This is a Micro Mini number 10 liner brush. And I might be using a few other sizes of Filbert brushes. This is a number 4 and this is a number 9. I'll add everything in the description below this video as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm really excited. I love this color and I love painting winter landscapes. So I'm gonna get this brush a little bit wet to start, dry off any drips. And I'm gonna take my beautiful violet here and I'm gonna start going around in a circular motion like this with my brush, so continuous circles. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of white now without washing my brush off. I'm gonna overlap. And this is gonna create some softer tones. I'm gonna pull it in, making it smaller, tighter little circles. A little bit more white now, just to finish that off. Now I'm going to go around the outside and finish that off, a little bit more of each color. So I didn't use any more water other than the tiny little bit I wet my brush with at the start. It may be because I'm trying to work quickly so I can get a nice blending. It's also because it's not really warm in my studio, and I also have acrylic gesso underneath, which helps the paint stay on the surface and not soak into the canvas. So all those things can play a part. So I'm going to wash my brush off now and we'll get started with the next step. Okay, so what I want to do with a clean brush, it's just a little bit damp from washing it. I am going to take just a little bit more of this violet here, a little bit more, and right about here I'm going to start pulling. So I'm turning my brush over so the handle's pointing out this way. You can also have it painting straight up. And I just need a little bit more water right now to help this flow nicely. And I'll come in on this side. And then I'm going to just softly tap and pull. So tap, pull like this. I'm going to tap a little bit up here as well. Pick up a little bit more. So all of these little landscapes that I've been working on lately, you can apply these to Christmas ornaments. You can apply them to Christmas card painting. You can paint this in oil, whatever medium, pastel, anything. But again, I'll just mention that I am using acrylic, and everything on my channel is acrylic. I only work in acrylics. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to take just a little bit of this white without washing my brush off. And I'm just going to start tapping and adding a little bit of snow and highlights. I really like using Filbert brushes for foliage and trees, and as well as waterfalls too. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit right here, just at the base of the trees. Well, we sort of have a little forest going on here, a blurry looking forest, but we're going to bring some trees more into focus here pretty soon. I just like to create a little bit of something blurry going on in the background. And then I'm just going to sweep gently. Okay, I'll wash my brush off, and I'm going to switch over to one of my Filbert brushes, and we're going to start applying some snow and branches on the trees. Okay, I'm going to use my number 4, and I'm not going to get it wet. I'm just going to go right into white. So just push a little bit of white onto your brush, and I'll start with a larger one that'll be right about here. So you just want to pull a little line for your tree trunk, and then little taps side to side. Be sure to leave some spaces so you can really see that pretty pinky violet color that we have. I'm going to start making my tree smaller and smaller so we gain some perspective. And we'll add another one right about here. I want this one to be a little bit crooked. Have a leaning tree. I always like to add a few leaning trees. I think it would be really pretty to add just a touch of iridescent diamond glitter to some parts of this painting at the end. I might do that. It'll just look like a giant Christmas card. I'm going to just clean my brush off, take a little bit of white, and add a sun right about here. So just taking white, I'm going to wash all that paint out of my brush and start from the outside. What I want to do is I'll be bringing some larger trees here around the side that those are going to be part of, but I want to create sort of a little bit of an icy feel, so like maybe icicles or something coming down here, that kind of ice and icy look and weeping willow look almost. Just add another little drip right there, that's okay. Can blend that out. So I'll just do it softly for now, and then I'll come in and add a little bit more. And I think I'm gonna have maybe just a little bit of waterfalls. I haven't painted many waterfalls lately in my landscape, so I think I want to do that. And I'm gonna use, I'll show you guys how to use a flat brush to do some waterfalls. So I've got a number 12 here. I'd recommend even going with 1/2 the size or width for a size of canvas like this. So I'm just gonna go with straight white. I've got this pink in the background, so I know it'll show up. And I'm gonna start coming right from there, just pull and slide and then sweep and drop. And I like cascading waterfalls, so I tend to keep going with them. I think they're just, waterfalls are so fun to paint. And then I'll just very lightly back and forth with the full width of my brush, turning it this way, and then sometimes if I want a little bit of an extra ripple, I'll turn it this way and get a little bit of white paint on my brush. Who knows, even these little icy things that we pulled down could be other waterfalls around. That's what I love about just doing my own thing, not looking at any reference photos. I just make my own little worlds up as I go along. Sometimes I'll look at photos, but this is mainly how I like to paint. Okay, so I'm really liking that. I may not even add any more of my violet. I might save that for my next tutorial, so stay tuned for that. I'll probably use that with another color, possibly blue, and we'll have a real purpley monochromatic painting going on in my next video. Okay, so I really want to add some more bushes and foliage down here, so I'm going to switch over to this pretty mop brush. I'm not going to get it wet, and I'm just going to use straight white. So I'm just going to tap and I'll start right about here. Just look at how soft it looks. I love these brushes, and I just get, these are makeup brushes that I found on Amazon, and to be honest, I bought them because I like pretty things and I love iridescent. They just looked so pretty, so I bought them, and then I decided one day to try them out. So I'm going to make it a little bit flatter down here. I'm going to take a little bit more white this time, and I'm going to add, I want it to look like the foliage is kind of coming down and partially in front of these waterfalls, so that will give it a little bit more of a 3D look as well. I'm leaving some spaces in between so we still have some nice contrast, and we don't lose that pretty violet color. Just add a little bit more up here too. Kind of lost that. So I'll just pick a few areas to have some main branches. There we go. And then a little bit more light here from our sun or maybe it's soft moonlight, maybe it's a full moon. You guys can decide. It's time to start coming in with some branches now. And maybe I will use some of this pink or violet, whatever you want to call it. Okay, just so this stands out a little bit more. So I think I'll just start right from here. I'm going to make this come out in the foreground a little bit more. A little bit of water. And I like to kind of just twist and roll. Tends to be a little bit easier when you add some water, so give that a try if you're having a little bit of trouble. It'll make the paint a lot thinner and easier to blend out of your brush. I have this tree root coming down here. So I'm going to be adding some more foliage on the top. And then I'll have my other tree maybe coming around down here. So it's not going to be in the same, on the exact same level. This one will come up a little bit higher, but I want to see those tree roots. I think that just makes it so cool looking. I don't know. I have a thing about neat twisted looking tree roots, and we see so many amazing ones here on Vancouver Island. I always enjoy getting outdoors for a hike because it's like a little adventure and kind of like a treasure hunt, because you always see something really interesting. The odd fairy door that somebody's added, really neat mushrooms, the birds. Oh my gosh, all the birds, like the owls. I've been very lucky to see a few owls close up too. So I'm just doing my thing here, the same thing, twisting and rolling very lightly. And I'm going to take a little bit more now of this violet. This is going to dry pretty dark, so it's going to give us some nice contrast. Now I ended up bringing this down where I said I wasn't, but kind of my painting kind of takes on a life of its own. So even if I'm thinking something, I'll end up just doing something different without realizing it or being even really conscious of it. It almost has like a feeling, if I brought this down a little bit more and brought these in a little bit more, it would almost feel like a heart shape, which is pretty. And that's given me ideas for titling this painting already. I could call it The Heart of Winter. Or if I made it more of a Christmas themed painting, I could call it The Heart of Christmas. Sometimes titles will just come to me for my paintings, and other times I have such a hard time deciding what to name or title. And I'll ask you guys a lot on my Facebook page if you can help me, and you guys are always so helpful. So thanks for all the ideas. Just gonna brighten my moon up a little bit more there. And well, I'm calling it a moon now, so I guess it's a moon. And I'm gonna add a little bit more snow white thick. I've got quite a bit here on the end of my brush. And I'm using this brush now because I just want to add it in little narrow areas and give it more of a layered look. So I'll start out with my Filbert, but then I always come back in because I like that heavy snow look. I'll come back in and add another layer using a liner brush or a round brush. Okay, and then what I want to also do is come in and add some snow gathering here on these little, wherever it would collect in the trees. Now this works as, adding the white here works as adding some snow and also some highlights. And I'll just follow that, all these neat little tree roots, so you can just come in and add some over top. Leave a few spaces in between so you can still see that pretty contrast of that purpley color. So we'll just continue along. I'm going to wash that brush out now. So we've got a nice balance going on here of light, soft, purpley pink and full on, and then our highlights. We've even got some softer highlights, so it's very soft to look at and delicate. And I'm going to add the next layer now. I want to add just a little bit more shadow in here. I'm going to use my Filbert brush for this. And I'm just going to come along here on the sides. Just add a little bit of depth and shadow. I'm going to soften this area right here. And anywhere else that I might want to add a little bit more depth to. But I don't want to make it too dark because I do like that soft, delicate look, and I don't want to lose that. If you happen to, you can just go over top with some white. And I think I'm ready to do another layer of white. So I'm gonna again use my little mop brush. Okay, and I'm just gonna start little taps to make it more natural looking. I'm gonna go over the front a bit too. It's gotta make sense, right? You've gotta have some foliage and snow, the front, the sides, the top. Okay, and then I'll add a little bit more right here, re-highlight, and a bit down here. Maybe we'll bring a little bit more down across here. And have some gradually going up. Just a little hint of it going up the side there, very soft. and then a light little pull. That also softens everything up. This time I'm going to use, just going to add a little bit more white to define make my waterfalls show up a little bit more. And I'm going to use my Filbert brush this time. That way you guys can see how you can use either brush to make your waterfalls. So line it up, same technique, pull and drop. And then maybe there's some starting from back there. And then brush side to side for a little highlight like that. I'm going to load my brush back up and just start tapping gently. A little bit more in here. A little bit of foliage and trees. What else could we add? This almost looks like a little staircase. So I'm just going to go over, make these dark lines a little bit darker and thicker. And then we'll have a staircase that takes us up and around. And then I'll paint a little cottage, I think, right over there. Wash all that violet out, and then I'll go into my white. And add some snow slash highlights. Okay, then I think I'll add a little bit of snow here on the side. A little bit of something here on the side. And you can have some free floating stairs if you want. Or you could add some foliage on either side. Okay, now for the cottage. I'm going to add a white roof for some snow. And we're going to lose part of our tree. I'm just going to start scooping a line across, slightly scoop down on an angle, pull. Now I want this tree to be in front, so I'll make sure that when my little house is all done, that I go over the tree trunk here so it's in the foreground. Okay, and then a little tap. It'll be easier to see when I come in with my violet. So now I'm going to come in here with this violet. I'm going to go inside the roof line. Okay, and then pull down. It's mixing in with a little bit with my white. I want this to be a little bit darker. Right under the roof line should be darker. So really simple lines and shapes, triangles, diagonal lines, squares. Keep it as simple as you can for yourself by doing that. I tell you, it makes it a whole lot easier. I have a little chimney like I always do, so just a little line like that, and then one that's diagonal for the shadow. To make it look like a little log house, I just do little taps and dabs. Switch over to my small liner brush here. Come back in with some white along the top. And I'm going to add some windows. I like to have a little loft, little window here, I think where the kitchen would be, and one for the door. And then I usually do 3 windows on the side of the house. And then I want to add another little dab, dab, dab. A little bit of a highlight, well, light coming out from those windows. And then some snow coming up the side of the chimney. And then some smoke. So I just kind of push and scumble around with my brush. Really quick, I'm just going to switch over to a little round brush here so I can blend this around a little bit better. Little circles. Add a little bit more white. It's kind of getting lost in with everything else that's white in the background, but we know what's there, so that's all that matters. Okay, I'm going to add some little details, just some lines with my violet here. A line for some shutters and a door frame. So all I'm going to do is just outline my windows. I'm just going to do a little line on either side for some shutters for my windows there, and then another layer right underneath the snowy roof line. That's where it's going to be really dark, is right there. And then I need to re-dab a little bit there for my chimney. Now there's just one thing I need to do here. I'm going to mix up a little bit of white along with my violet and add it. Try and add it around my window here because my dark shadow is coming down right into the dark outline of my my little shutters, so they're not standing out because it's all getting lost because it's the same color. So I quickly just lighten that up, and then I'm just going to go back in with my violet and touch that up. There, I think we can see that a little bit better now, and I'll just try to do a skinnier shadow there. I think I'm going to add a little bridge back here. I will use my smallest Filbert brush, and I'll take a little bit of my violet. I'm going to place my pinky here, making sure that it's dry, just to help steady my hand. And I'm just going to go in come up slightly, a little arch like that. We'll take a little bit more, and then down here, to make it look more 3D, we'll see a little bit of the underside of that bridge. I just took a tiny bit of water here just to get more of a smooth edge here to this. Okay, then I'm going to come up with a little bit of white. And this you probably don't even have to do because it's already white back there. And then make it look more stable, I'll just add some land and a bit of bushes here and some snow on either side. Oh, I know what I want to do. I want to add a little staircase, a few little steps leading up to the door. So I need a really small brush to do that, and I'm going to use my little liner here with my violet, and I'll add a line, a few little lines. We'll make that stand out a little bit more when I come in with my white. Okay, so after washing and drying my brush off, I'm going to take a little bit of my white and add some snow and highlights. And every time I pull a stair, I'm going off, right? So you want to create a little bit of shadow here on this side to make it look like that's the direction the stairs are going. And we're back over to my little Filbert brush. I'm gonna just come along the side here, tuck those little stairs in with some snow and bushes. Add a little bit more smoke now coming out of my chimney. A little bit more of my white. Just going to soften, go over slightly, a little bit on this bridge just to soften that, because it is farther away. So add a little bit more of a highlight and make this stand out more. Okay, well, I'm going to call this one done, and this was really fun to paint. Hope you guys enjoyed this one as well. If you did, please leave a comment below, like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It helps put my channel and my videos out into the algorithm so more and more people like you who enjoy painting and learning how to paint can find my channel and join us and paint along. Happy holidays, everybody. I'm wishing you well and happy painting. I'll see you all very soon in another video. Bye for now.